This is Life's a Pitch TV. Main sponsor, DPS Tech. Also supported by Lackens, all about hearing. Forward Floors, Ginger Pickle, Fred Olsen Logistics, The Dove, Seckford Golf Club, Ashford Wright, John Keeble Cars, Venue 16, The Hudson Group, Come Hither Design, Sound 4 Pro Audio, and Suffolk Sound. Our charities this year: Cancer Support Suffolk and the Ipswich Town Community Foundation. Welcome to the DPS Tech Arena for today's episode of Life's a Pitch TV. Let me introduce you to the team. It's Terry Butcher. There's Russell Osman. And it's Chambers. We've also got Richard, John and Mark on technicals. They deserve a round of applause as well. And can we all say hello, Leslie, who's watching in Canada, our floor manager, who can't be with us tonight. I don't know why. She's 5,000 miles away. She could have made more of an effort to get here, I think, but give her a little wave to the camera. She's watching the show. So now, of course, we're Premier League and our capacity crowd has doubled in size. So we have the Churchman Stand sponsored by John Keeble Cars. And we have the North Stand sponsored by Ashford Wright. Looking a little sparse in Churchman's tonight, but there's plenty of room. It's great to have you along, and of course we're on YouTube, we're on podcast, and also on Suffolk Sound. We've got lots for you on the programme this evening. Unfortunately, we were hoping to have Bart here tonight, but we can't get Bart on the link this evening, so he will come along at a future date, and we will get him on the show. But with lots to fit in, we've got the Table Footy Challenge. We've got some volunteers from our capacity crowd to have a go at that. On this day in ITFC history, Ask the Legends, Player of the Week, and loads more on the way. But we start the show with some sad news today. The Ipswich Town legend, and he was a legend, David Rose, who was the club secretary, has passed away at the age of 81. David started at Ipswich Town as a 15-year-old from Westbourne High School. He got wind of the fact that they wanted an office boy, and he went along at 15 and was interviewed by Sir Alf Ramsey and got the job as office boy. He then progressed through to be club secretary, and he served with the club for 45 years. And Terry and Russell, somebody that you both grew up with, what are your memories and thoughts of David? First of all, his passing, which is very terrible news. He's a Hall of Fame member, isn't he? Yeah,
Hall of Fame, yes, and he was a lovely man. It was lovely to see him going to the games recently. He was in the director's box and went into the boardroom, and I think he used to eat quite a bit, David. He's a small man, but he could put it away. I'll tell you now, it was unbelievable. But he was just great. He was the same, wasn't he? The same sort of temperament all the time. Didn't get angry, didn't get mad or moody or anything like that. Just a lovely man. Really nice, and it is so sad because he was a real character, wasn't he?
He was, and he mixed and mingled very well with the visiting directors. I think part of his brief was to make sure that George behind the bar kept the gin and tonics up to full measure for not only Patrick Cobbold and Mr. John Cobbold, but the visiting directors.
I think David quite liked a gin and tonic as well, didn't he?
Well, I wasn't going to say that,
yes.
But it's funny
you quite a few,
that.
Actually, yeah.
And and he could have a laugh with everybody. The lads used to have a bit of a giggle with him, and no more so when all the players were told that they had to be on the coach quickly after the game at Newcastle because we've got to get to the station to get the train back, and Bobby Robertson had been drumming it into us that we couldn't afford to be late, couldn't miss the train and everything. So everybody was on the coach bright and early after the game. We didn't spend any time in the players' lounge. The only person missing when it was time to go was Sir Bobby himself. He was late, so all the lads started having a go at David Rose, say, "Come on, David, you've got the authority. If the manager's not here, we can't afford to miss the train. Let's go." and so we left.
Well, he didn't want to leave, did he?
He didn't want to leave.
He honestly went white. He went white.
We started pulling out down the drive, and suddenly somebody looked out the back window, and Sir Bobby was chasing the coach down the driveway, and then he suddenly pulled up short because he'd torn his calf muscle.
Oops.
So I think David got a right earful for that, but David just took it in his stride as he did with everything, and he was a great fella.
We did make it. We we had outriders. We had the police with us as well, so they got us there just in time. But Bobby was not happy. David got a bit of a roasting, but he took one for the team. But it was really, we couldn't believe he actually did it.
No,
we just weren't trying to wind him up. Go on, that sort of thing, and he did it. We were so shocked.
Yeah.
And then
people rightly talk about Pat Gobbold's service to the club, but David, 45 years, right at the very heart of things for so long through your glory days.
Well, I've got copies of old contracts at home. Is it DC Rose? Yeah, David Rose always signed them and stuff like that, so he was there from the day I joined the club, and like last time I saw him was at the football club as well, so a long time.
So you got all the contracts? All your contracts?
Yeah, but it's in old money.
Yeah, that's what I thought so, yeah. Because your contracts were always more than my old contracts, weren't they?
Not a lot.
Well, they were more. But we didn't know. But David just, he kept everything quiet. He was just he was a gentleman. He was a great club man. He loved the club. And even when you came onto the bus after the away games and you'd lost, he would always, he wouldn't make any comment whatsoever. He just stayed the same. And when you asked him, what do you think? He just said, well, unlucky and all this sort of thing. He was just a lovely Ipswich man. He really was. And it was, it's such a, when you told us, it's such a horrible thing, because he's one of the good guys and one of the legends of the club. And when the other one goes, you sort of, here we go again. But
a bit unexpected as well, wasn't it?
Well, it was. Yeah, but it was.
I think he's been poorly for a little while.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, but a great character by all accounts, from what you're saying. And
it was fun. You could talk to him very normally. He would help you with everything wherever he could. And you never felt, even as a young lad, you always felt he was very approachable. And I think that was the best thing about it. He was very level and very steady, and he treated everybody the same.
Did he go on trips with you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, he had a few trips, yes.
Yeah.
Somebody had to carry the cash.
Yes. But he used to pop out from time to time, didn't he, when we stopped on the bus, and he would just go around the corner for a cigarette and all that sort of thing and come back in.
Yeah.
He liked a cigarette.
Yeah. Went around a lot of corners, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he got a few cigarettes off Big Al and the Beat as well, so yeah, he was part of that crowd.
Pete used to call him Pillsbury.
Pillsbury Doughman, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was, he could take a joke. We used to hammer him, but he just took it in his stride, and we all respected him. We gave him a lot of respect because he was just honest, down to earth.
He did his job, didn't he?
He did his job really well.
Really well.
At a time when, look at being disrespectful to the current setup, they're doing incredibly well, but the staff there, so many of them, but he was there at a time when there was barely anybody there, sorting out tickets for FA Cup finals and various different things.
Yeah, I think he panicked with the ticket situation.
Right.
Everybody wanted tickets. Everybody wanted them tickets. So he had to sort that out.
He was okay if he made sure Sir Bobby was okay.
Yeah.
So it was 1 for us, 6 for Bobby. Yeah, so he looked after him well.
Well, it's very sad news, but I think we should just give him a round of applause, don't you? David Rose. Somebody, Chamber, that you didn't really come across much in your time there?
No, unfortunately not, no. Obviously what everyone says about him and the reputation he has is obviously an absolute club legend and rightly rewarded for being in the Hall of Fame, etc. And us celebrating his life as we should now, really.
Yeah. It's just when you look back, we often talk about the players, don't we? But it's people like David, it's people like Pat, others I could name who, without them, we wouldn't have the football club that we have now. They're so important, aren't they?
Well, who was there? There was David Rose, and there was Pat, and then there was Sue, little Sue.
Sue's still there, yeah.
Still there doing stuff. So it's just those 3 people that would actually run the club, and that was it. The administration side, contract sides, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it was incredible, isn't it?
And dealing with John Cobbold and Patrick Cobbold. Yeah. Couldn't have been the easiest business people to deal with. Just made sure that the wine stocks were at the right level,
He liked to drink on the plane going over for the European games as well. So, well, obviously when you're with Mr. John and Mr. Pat, you have to drink, don't you? They force you in the nicest possible way to have a drink. So yeah, but he was just one of the guys, really good.
Yeah. Well, a very sad loss, and our thoughts with his family and friends tonight. When we start the show, normally we take a look back and see what's happened as far as Ipswich Town are concerned over the last game, and we'll do that right now because a point, Chambo against Fulham, a good, solid, all-round performance from everybody on that pitch, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think every single player that entered the field of play, whether they started or came on as a sub, I felt they handled themselves really, really well, and it's just really encouraging that we picked up a result like that before the international break. Because to go in there with 0 points after 3 games, regardless of the opposition, is not really where you want to be. So the performance, especially individually, was great. I thought collectively it was really, really positive, and I think Kieran and the players, and I saw some of the players today down at the golf day, and yeah, they seem to be in really, really good spirits, and they're looking forward to a little bit of a weekend off already.
Well, the pressure's been on them, hasn't it? My goodness me. So just a little bit of a break will do them the power of good. What did you think, Russ?
Yeah, good. Enjoyed the game. I thought we coped with their presence very well because they have some very quick players, Fulham, and they have some very powerful players. So I think it just shows you that not only do teams have footballing ability in the Premier League, they are very good athletes as well. And you look at them, I mean, the left back was Robinson. Oh, he was quick. He overtakes pigeons, doesn't he? And they got 1 or 2 players like that were really quite impressive. So for us to get the point there, and I agree with Luke, it was probably the most important point we'll get all season. It gets us off the mark going into the international break, and it is just a nice little pat on the back for the players and saying, yeah, good, that's nice, we're going in the right direction.
Butch?
Yeah, it was important not to lose the game, wasn't it? It would have been lovely for 3 points, and I think we deserved 3 points overall in the game. We looked more likely the team to score the winner, but we obviously wasn't to be. But don't lose. But the most impressive thing I saw in the game was Jack Clark's shorts. I mean, my God, are they big enough or what?
Well, for those who weren't there or haven't seen it, he did look as if his shorts were, well, ones that I would wear, 4XL or whatever. They were huge, weren't they?
Well, they were, and it was a good job there wasn't a strong wind because he'd have been blown over the stand. For goodness sake.
He's always worn shorts like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If it works for him, let's embrace it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair comment.
He's got his own style.
It's not fashion police.
I don't think you'll get many people wear shorts like that, though.
If he keeps cutting inside and nearly scoring every time, I'll be happy.
They look like my grandmother's bloomers.
Well, they were better. They were much better than the tighty whities you two used to wear all the while. That were right up.
Yeah, but when you got legs, Mark, you got to show them off now and again, haven't you? Yeah.
Oh dear.
Hide it.
Where have we gone with this combo?
Well, we just started, I tell you. There we go.
A lot of people noticed it. So he does that all the time, does he?
Yeah, he's always done that for a long time.
Shorts down, socks down.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, as you say, if it works for him.
I'm just glad we got to see him on the pitch. I think he's going to be a really, really good sign for us, and to add that dimension where we can have a winger on the left side where we've usually used Leaf, it allows us to be a bit more solid. Leaf doesn't always have to be our outlet on the left-hand side. And
how was he going? I mean, everybody that came on looked really good. We've made some great signings, I think. Do we agree, everybody? Yeah. How is he going to fit them all in?
I think it'll take time and it'll be game-specific, really. I think.
Yeah, very much so.
Russell mentioned how many athletes they're going to come up against, and yes, Fulham had some big boys, but that's, I think, one of the big things that we'll notice this year when teams do come to Portman Road. What these physical specimens of Premier League players are, and it is just another level.
In that Fulham lineup, weren't they?
The amount of times number 3 Calvin Bassey put our players on a knee slide just from giving them a little bit of but again, I think that will help them that game because they'll believe that they can compete at that level, and I think that's what we want. We want them to be able to take those 3 performances, because I felt they were in the games against obviously Man City, Liverpool and Fulham, and it was just really solidify their belief that they can compete over the next few weeks.
The only thing one of the things I'm thinking about was we've got good subs, but they came on fairly late in the game. Do you think that he could put them on a bit earlier? I mean, you obviously have to look at the situation of the game, whether you're winning or losing, or et cetera, et cetera. But it was pretty it was pretty, like stalemate sort of thing in the game. Perhaps if coming on earlier would have given them a little bit more of a chance. I mean, Connor Chaplin only came on in the last few minutes and things like that. So they're good players. They are very excellent players. I think maybe just can we see them a bit earlier?
Yeah, but I think this will be the thing that will happen over the next few weeks is when we don't get the results and there's not 3 points every week, we will then start to question, can we do this? He should be playing. This should be happening. So that's going to be a natural occurrence as a football fan, and obviously us watching games, that we'll start to question things, because we were speaking to lots of people around the ground before the game, and the question usually is, how many are we going to win by?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, we'll take a point today. So already the realisation and the fan base and how people are approaching the games is going to be different. So for me, like Butch says there, the interesting thing will be how long can we support the manager in his decision making when results aren't going the way that we are.
I think we can support him. I mean, we're totally behind him.
Yeah.
But it's just, you sort of think, well, he's used to his in the League One and Championship. There's normally around 60, 65 minutes the first subs come on. But it was another 10, 15, 20 minutes after that. And at this level, you've obviously, as a manager, you say, or you think, well, maybe if things go, we can put him on and this, we can do this, 2 here, 1 here, and all that, whatever, because there's only 3 allocated times. You have a little plan in your head, but I think it's totally different in the Premier League now, because you have to react to the game and how the game's going. But then, there's obviously times when you think, can we do it? Or make the substitutions, and would that have an improvement? But at the same time, the team's doing well, so you don't want to change it.
But it's always like a calculated gamble, isn't it? With substitutions, some work for you and some don't work for you. And the worst mistake you can make is not making them, or not making them soon enough. And I think sometimes you just make a substitution just to try and gain the initiative in a game. Just try and put the opposition on the back foot and just hope it doesn't affect you too much. And sometimes you might want to do that at half-time. Liverpool made the change at half-time. And that just gave them a little bit of the initiative going into the second half and put us on the back foot a little bit while we have a look to see how Liverpool are going to play in the second half. They've already made a substitution. I'm all for doing that at half-time now and again. If you think something needs changing at half-time, be bold enough to do it. So
the team were holding their own, though, weren't they? More than holding their own, which is so you can understand why perhaps he was a bit reticent not to change it earlier, because they were toe-to-toe, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't think from the way I saw it that it was screaming out for substitutions at that time. But yeah, I think for initiative purposes and his record of his substitutions over the last 2 years, he's got every decision right, and we've won games from substitutions so many times over the last 2 years. So yeah, I think in hindsight maybe he might look back at that game and think, yeah, could have done a few things earlier. But then you've got the beauty of bringing Connor Chaplin on the 87th minute, and that's the level of the squad now.
Well, it's amazing when you looked at that bench. I mean, that's the thing, that if he gets those substitutions right and early enough, then if we're chasing a game, perhaps he can turn it around like he has done in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's all down to the players when they come on, isn't it? They've got to come on with the hunger that, like Chaplin's shown, even with the last 10 minutes of the game. He's keen to get involved in it, and what we've seen over the last couple of years, that the changes he's made, the players have really come on and made an impact more or less straight away. And I'm sure that will happen time and time again for us this season. But it's just, I wouldn't say it's a learning curve, but it's just getting used to what the Premier League's all about.
So nice to have a goal of the month candidate on Match of the Day, isn't it? Did we all see that? Delap's got, isn't that fantastic? Just brilliant.
I thought it was brilliant.
What did we make of that goal, Butch?
Well, we were right behind. There was a screamer. And as soon as he hit it, he's like, wow, that's when it just lifted you off your seat. It was just incredible. And the noise was just immense. It was worth the admission money. Well, I didn't pay to get in, but it was lovely. But it was very nice, wasn't it? Yeah. But it was great, and it's just great to celebrate a goal in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's been a long time,
isn't it? Lovely to say. But you look at the bench for Fulham, and they were impressive. Some of those international players coming on and all this. But then I thought we coped with it. Ipswich Town coped with it very well. Coped with their new players coming on, their fresh legs, which is a really good sign for the future. So I was pleased about that. But I'm just saying, how many we haven't kept a clean sheet yet. Even against Wimbledon, we didn't keep a clean sheet. And you sort of think, let's get back to clean sheets if we possibly can. Although it's a different environment now, but I think the back four will change. I think there'll be O'Shea will come in, and I think he'll just rearrange things around a little bit. So hopefully he will get it right what he thinks. But a team evolves. A team is not going to be this team for the rest of the season, but a team does evolve. Do you think there'll be a change at the back? Do you think there'll be a change?
I thought we were talking about Delap's goal, but we've got onto the back four now and moved on from there. Yeah, that's typical, isn't it?
Well, no, we'll pick up on that. Do you think, and then we'll come back to Delap's goal?
No, I think we've got to be tighter at the back. I'm disappointed in the goal we conceded against Fulham because it could have been avoided. I just thought Leif Davis, if he just checks once on the journey back to the 6-yard box from the halfway line, if he has a little look over his shoulder to see where Traore was, then it'd have been ready for him when the ball comes across. And it seemed he was a little bit surprised that Traore had stepped in front of him and stuck it in the back of the net. Maybe different onuses on the fullbacks nowadays, but in our day it was always make sure you know what's behind you as well as what's in front of you. And I agree with Terry. It'd be nice to get a few clean sheets. Because the job's going to be hard enough as it is, even if you keep a clean sheet. So you've got to go on and win it. And if you're always going to concede a goal here and there, it does make it a bit of a hill to climb. But
Chamber, what do you think?
More current ways of coaching, I think, isn't there, with the defenders?
Yeah, I think what I sort of took from the goal that we conceded was, we mentioned Robinson earlier on. 9 times out of 10, Tuanzebe stays in second gear, then he gets going, and then he makes the block. But if you don't react quick enough against these players, they will beat you down the line, and they'll get that half a yard that they need. And for me, it happened so quickly, and they were on the brakes so fast that our defence weren't able to get in and get set. They were always travelling towards their own goal. And once that ball comes in and you're still running towards your own goal, there's no chance for you to be able to check or stop to get a block on. So Traore is just held out, and our boys are still dropping back in. The ball gets cut behind them, and they're just sitting ducks. Then it's a really controlled finish.
But do you think the boys, especially defenders, will learn from these first 3 games?
Oh, absolutely,
because
yeah.
If you give them any sort of sniff, then it's in the back of the net, isn't it? And the pace of the counter-attacks and the pace of the attacks is so much quicker now than what they were, obviously League One, but Championship as well. It's breathtaking to see how quickly they do break all the opponents, Liverpool's, Man City's, and obviously Fulham's. And if you're not quite right, if you weren't quite right in the previous divisions, you could get away with it possibly, or it wouldn't happen. But in this league, wow, it's just incredible.
You've got to get in there and get your body position right, haven't you?
Absolutely.
As quick as you can. You can't jog along and try and make ground up once everybody else starts to accelerate. You've got to get in there alongside the centre half as a full-back as early as you can, as quickly as you can, and get yourself sorted. I
think I'd need a motorbike to just try and cover their pace.
But what they do well is every single pass. So if the winger picks the ball up and the overlap comes, that pass is perfect. He gets in a position to cross it. His cross is perfect. The guy finishes it. The finish is perfect. But what?
On the flip side, should have known where it was.
Exactly. But on the flip side, how well did we break? Delap's picked that ball up there, quick passes, he picks it up, breaks with pace, smashes in the top corner.
They'll learn attacking-wise and defensive-wise. They will learn from this because you're playing against real top-class players, and you have to learn. But they will learn, and it must be a joy to play against them.
But on a positive, Delap, I thought, was brilliant again.
Brilliant.
I think Jacob Greaves has been the pick of the new boys for me so far.
Yep.
But I think the passion and the willingness and the desire that Delap has shown in leading the line at the moment, I think he's been fantastic.
Did he do a Delap of honour? I just thought about that. That's pretty good. Yeah? Oh, no, I don't care. I don't care. No. That's what that would be, Russ. Wait.
You're leading us nicely into choosing our player of the week. So the Life's Pitch TV Player of the Week, sponsored by, and they're here tonight, the Dove in Ipswich. So we've had Smodics and Greaves as our 2 players so far. So Russ, who would your player be from the Fulham game?
It would be Delap.
It would be.
I thought he led the line very well and scored an outstanding goal. Simple as that.
And he's a big lad, isn't he, as well? He's very physical.
But he has got a bit of pace as well.
Yeah.
He's a strong gunner, and I think he's surprised one or two people how quick he is.
And that will have done him the world of good, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's set his bar at a very high level.
Okay.
Expect more.
Terry, who would you go for?
I had to put my bar at a very high level as well, so because I couldn't reach, I had to reach the beers. No one else could reach it. Okay.
You should have quit ahead when you had Delap going.
Oh, yeah,
Going to keep going.
Yeah, I'm moving on very quickly now.
You got a choice.
I thought Smodic was good, but I thought Delap was better, and he scored the goal. So I think for me that was the outstanding man of the match, or man of the match.
And Chambo?
I thought that was very, very good, but I thought Sam Morsey was different gear. Like I didn't see him give the ball away. The way he takes the ball off his defence, the way he drives the team on, I just thought he was phenomenal, and he truly looked like a Premier League player on Saturday. And
it shows he could have been playing in the Premier League for many years, couldn't he?
Well, yeah, maybe without Kieran, possibly not. But
right, okay.
The way he's improved under him, and how, like I say, when he's under pressure and the way he manoeuvres and can set attacks off at the moment, I just think he's going to be key for us because he's already stepped up another level, I believe. So him for me.
Okay.
He's been booked twice already. But
does that surprise any of us?
But that shows he's playing well, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah.
Can I lob in Luke Wolfenden?
You could.
If that's all right with
lob
you.
him where?
Into the mix, because I thought that Wolfie had a really, really good game. You know, bearing in mind we're talking about a player, one of our own, that's come through and had his trials and tribulations over time. Yeah. And I thought he was very cultured and didn't put a foot wrong.
Mark, I'll tell you a story. So Bobby Robson once said to me, he said, Russell, did you ever watch Bobby Moore play centre-half? I said, yes, I did. He said, did you ever see him break sweat? I said, no. He said, that's because he used his brain all the time. He said, the problem with you, Russell, is you like to get physical. You like to make a last-minute tackle, blah, 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 and all that. He said, play with your brains a bit more and see how you go from there. And I remember coming off the pitch against Manchester City one day, and I think we'd won 2-0 or something like that. And I felt I had not touched the ball all game. I'd done nothing. He'd been all over the place, but I'd done absolutely nothing. And so Bobby was waiting for me before he went back into the changing room, and he said, that is the way to play centre-half. I said, I've not done anything. He said, you haven't had to. You've intercepted stuff rather than make last-minute tackles. You've read situations so it hasn't come down that way because you were already there. You played with your brains. I thought, OK, but that was bloody boring. And I think Wolfie had one of those days where he used his brains well. And that's all. And so he's probably unnoticed by a lot of other people, Mark, not so astute as yourself at spotting a good player.
Yeah.
I think he's been brilliant since first game, and he's another one that he seems to play at the level he finds himself at. And when he was in League Two, he played like a League Two player. When he's in League One, he plays like a League One player, and so on and so forth. And I'm just excited to see him. Listen, at the end of the day, we've signed another centre half and 20 million plus who's played in the Premier League, and I think it's up to him to keep the shirt, and he'll thrive off that. Yeah. And he won't get ruffled.
It's a competition, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's great competition now. The best competition that we've ever had in terms of, from recent years, 10, 20 years. So I think there's only, it can only be more positive. Everything's it just gets more positive, more positive, more positive.
Yeah. So it's 2 for Delap, 1 for Wolfie, 1 for Sam. So our player of the week this week, sponsored by the Dove in Ipswich, is Mr. Delap. Quick word as well about Mogga. He was interviewed by one of the, where was he? Birmingham, I think, was he? Or Middlesbrough? Birmingham, wasn't it? Yeah. Interviewed by one of the press team, and saying he was feeling much better.
Mogga.
Yeah, so he's gone through, quite a lot, but it's really good to see him back, going to games and enjoying football again.
And everybody knows who Mogga is.
Tony Mowbray.
Correct. For those who don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, good old Tony. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a scrapper, isn't he? Yeah. He's a good boy.
Yeah, it was good to see them back up and about.
Yeah, it's good to see him make improvements and get better. And he'll always have an appetite to go to games. I mean, he's the sort that will be there all the time and want to go, he lives and breathes football. And he has got unfinished business. There's still a lot more life left in him. And he's had great success, and hopefully he'll have more in the future.
Yeah, well, it's good to see him up and about. Right, time now for your favourite bit, Terry. It's Ask the Legends, sponsored by Seckford Golf Club. And Tony's here from Seckford Golf Club with our question of the week in a moment or two. At the moment, Russell is on 3 and Terry is fighting back with 1. And Chambo, feel free to join in and put them off or help them, whichever you feel the need to do. Terry clearly needs a little bit of help and assistance with this.
Thank you.
Well, just, fair comment would be my defence.
With this, yeah.
OK. So, Tony, what do we have this week?
Well, the question today is all about Ipswich legend Charles Morgan Parkinson Woods.
Yeah, Charlie
Woods.
Charlie made his debut for Ipswich Town Football Club in 1966 and played 82 league games before Bobby sold him to Watford. How many goals did he score?
For who? For Watford or?
No, for Ipswich.
For Ipswich.
So, town legend Charles Morgan Parkinson Woods made his debut in 1966, appeared 82 times before Bobby sold him to Watford. How many goals did he score for us? Would you like to go first or second, Terry?
Well, I should go first because Russell went first last week.
OK.
I don't want to, but I mean, I'll probably go first. So 82 games, then he was sold. I would say he got 26. I haven't a clue, but he got 26.
That's a good
I
guess.
go less than that. I would say...
Chambo, do you want to help him with something?
Well, you'd say 25 if you can go.
I know, I'm good less so. I don't think he scored many at all.
OK.
He's a fullback,
6.
wasn't he?
5.
Oh, very close.
Well, I was very close, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were, Terry.
Yeah.
So that means it's Russell 4, Terry 1. Right, you can get your own back now, you two, because it is time for the Table Footy Challenge, sponsored by Fred Olsen Logistics, who are also here tonight. So we haven't got a guest this week. Chambo's already on the top of the leaderboard with 5. Walkie with 1, Dozzell with 1, Carlos Edwards last week a big fat 0. So, boys, if you'd like to come and take your positions, we have chosen a couple of people from our capacity crowd to come and take you on. So, up you get, boys, up you get. Terry's carrying an injury tonight. He's done his finger in. So we have Yasmin and Nikki who are going to take you on. Come on, girls. Okay. So we'll start on my whistle. It's 60 seconds. And Yasmin and Nikki, it's how many goals you can score against our 2 England defenders. OK? So Chambo's in the lead with 5. Comfortably in the lead with 5 at the moment. Relaxed in the corner.
We've checked the VAR now. It's all
clear
kosher.
now. You're fine. I'll get rid of the asterisk. You're fine. OK. OK, are you ready? 60 seconds. Oh! So was that for you, Nikki and Yasmin, that one? Yeah. Oh, so Butch and Russell 1-0 down. They scored 1. One each at the moment. Quick, get your balls in. Yeah, get your balls in. 1-1 at the moment. Oh, 2-1! Great strike from Yasmin. 2-1. Puts you in second place on the leaderboard, scoring 2 goals. Still 2-1. You've got about 15 seconds to go, 20 seconds to go. Oh, 2-2. 2-2. Still, you scored 2 though, so it'll get you on the leaderboard.
Sure.
Time for another one.
Doesn't it cancel out? No.
10 seconds.
0. No. I kept a clean sheet. I was just saying.
Was that 3-2? Oh, well done to our England defenders. 3-2. got some dissent. Skip, come on, Skip. What's your problem with this? Come on.
No, just asking if the goals were cancelled out if the boys scored against the
Just because
challengers.
you kept the clean sheet.
Well, I was just saying, just so
I think
I didn't
they
win
deserve,
much, all right?
It's how
I'm
many
just
goals
trying
they
to-
score against the England, and they scored two.
Perfect. They've done great.
Is that okay? Should we put them on the leaderboard
did
into
brilliantly.
second place?
Well done.
Excellent. So, ahead of Walkie, Dozzell and Carlos. So well done, the two of you. Talking of Dozzell, we went to his book launch the other day, didn't we, boys?
We did.
Yes. And you, Chamber, you're quite close to him, aren't you?
Well, I've always saw him as a sort of a figure for me. Like, I thought he was a tremendous player and one that I saw growing up. And he's always looked after me when I first joined the club, and he was around the club doing some coaching and helping out. And yeah, we've always really got on. And then I obviously used to interact with him quite a lot. And then obviously his son came through as a really young player at the time, and I ended up playing in the game that he made his debut in and scoring at Sheffield Wednesday. And yeah, and from that moment, we've always, whenever we're in each other's company, we've shared stories and shared our thoughts on football and how Dozzell's doing and how the club's doing. And yeah, and it's really sad to hear about what he's had to go through, but to be where he is now and even having him sit here was just a real nice moment for him, because I feel he's needed to sort of have that clarity personally to be able to sit in front of a group of people as well. And because some of us find it easy, that's your personality and way you've lived your life at the end of the day. And for him now to sit on a stage in front of 200 people the other night and talk about himself and a book launch, and he's not bragging about anything, is he? He's just
He's very humble,
truly
isn't he?
humble guy, and it's just nice that he had his moment there. And yeah, for me, and being his friend is rewarding for me. It's
and
great.
it was nice to be there with. I mean, these boys were there when he scored, but when Andre scored, I mean, it's just like written in the stars almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like that's something that they've got and they can relate with for the rest of their lives. And yeah, an unbelievable achievement from one person, let alone father and son.
Yeah. And you two were up on stage paying tribute, weren't you? You had a lot of notice about that, didn't you?
Yeah, we got.
It was about 30 seconds, wasn't it? 30 seconds notice, yeah. It's good, but I mean, he's still the same old Jason. His microphone technique was not the best because he waved all over the... So, yeah, it was typical. But he was very good now, isn't it? Because you need to get that off your chest. You need to release things. You need to say things and get it out in the open, because we just keep it inside a lot. So it was very good for him, and I think it's a good book, and it's got a great foreword in it as well. I think somebody wrote that. I'm not too sure who it was, but
was that you, Terry?
That was me. Oh yes, it was me. I remember now. Yes, I remember.
You can skip that bit.
No, skip that bit. Yes, flick through, rip it out. No, but he's one of our own, and he's, you know, I think Kieran was there. Kieran Dyer was there as well. You came in. We were both there. But I think Kieran lived closer, didn't he? Slightly closer
to the ground.
What happens, about 50 yards or something
like that? Yeah.
He lived a bit
both
closer.
grew up in the shadow of Portman Road. Both dreamed of playing there.
But that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Two guys like that, you know, who go on to have great careers and score a lot of goals for town as well. You know, you couldn't write that. It doesn't happen to many clubs.
It's an incredible story, but at the end of the day, for what it's done for him personally, he talks about it being therapy to raise awareness of what he's gone through. And Terry mentions it there, like, we got to talk a bit more, and we always say about that. And if you've got a problem, you've got to share it with someone, because
there's
ultimately,
much more emphasis on that now than perhaps when you two were playing. Would you say?
Yeah, because in our day, it was like everybody probably in the audience will appreciate. It was like, man up and get on with it, you know. And I think that's how it was within the football club environment, especially when got somebody like Bobby Ferguson like kicking you up the backside, and that was his way of motivating you and stuff like that. So it was a different era, different way of doing things. But you know, going back to Jason was, as a player, he was unique. A very languid way of moving, wasn't he? You know, and it's strong, and I think people saw him sometimes and just underestimated what a good footballing brain he'd got, and he got a lot of talent there. And you know, he was clever. He was clever and brave in the 18-yard box. He used to get involved with the centre halves and the keepers, and it used to be a tough battleground in there in those days. He was a brave old boy.
It's an interesting book. It's called Follow the Thunder, which is the sound of Portman Road, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to give too much away, but it's very interesting because we think we know you as footballers, but that is all we know you as footballers, isn't it? Unless we actually know you, or you do a book, and then we find out about what it was life like before you were a footballer, after you were a footballer, about personal situations. So we often conjure up opinions of what footballers are like. This is a really good read, isn't it? It really is. He's bearing his soul on this.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Talks about a lack of a father figure in the first part of his life, or throughout his life, really.
Yeah.
And it's really not an honest read, I think.
We were there, and they had the montage of him scoring the goals, and it was on a loop. But he scored some unbelievable goals. Left foot, right foot with his head as well. He got stuck in, and there's anything in the box, 50 feet, he was in there.
He was in, yeah.
Brave, very honest. But it was Bobby Ferguson, especially when he first got into the side, it was always get the ball into his feet in the box. Because it's a bit like Gatesy. He's a bigger version of Gatesy. He was not quite so ugly, but there we are. And he would turn and twist hard. And all that sort of thing. And he had great movement and good body strength as well. And he had a great technique of finishing, a little bit like Walkie as well. Yeah. Just pass the ball into the net rather than smash it. He was.
And when he was breaking into the side, it was never as if it was like a young 16-year-old coming in to make the numbers up for us. We knew we got this very, very bright prospect breaking his way into the first team at Ipswich, and we were looking to play with him, really.
We were, but now if you're looking at squads and you're looking at players like 15, 16 going away with the first team, they've got to be chaperoned, or they've got to be looked after. You can't just put them in a room.
We looked after him.
We looked after him, yeah. We were normally in the bar, but I mean, there's all these kinds of was it well-being? What do they call it? Welfare now. Yeah. Safeguarding. Yeah. Well done.
And Chamber, you've done a lot of looking after the younger players. I mean, you've had them staying at your house and done all sorts, haven't you? That's a big part of what you did as a skipper, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just like trying to help people at the end of the day, and they benefited from it as individuals as well as players, and we still do it to this day. So it's I've seen some fantastic players come through there. I've seen some interesting characters come through there, and you talk about lack of father figures, and once you start properly sitting down and speaking to these lads and realising how they're being treated in a football environment, how they've been brought up, what their backgrounds are, you then learn to know that one size doesn't fit all when you're dealing with team environment and individual needs and how you're going to make them better as a person and as a player. So,
but it must make you proud to see some of these players go on to be first team stars and go on and have a great,
unbelievably
careers.
proud, because Flynn Downs lived with me for 2 years, and to see him break from the youth team into the first team and now he's playing in the Premier League, it just and we had a little part to play in that, and we taught them how to sort of look after themselves at the end of the day, and how you need to handle setbacks, and how we can improve. Like, we watch video together about the games and stuff like that. So for me, it's brilliantly rewarding, but for them to see what they've all gone and achieved, and when they leave home and they're on their own. We've got a lad who lives with us now, and he's moved from Ireland. He's just turned 17, and they're out in the big bad world on their own. Yeah. So it's like teaching them as fast as they can.
How daunting that is.
Absolutely, yeah. And then you were just expected to come over here and be a player, but what's the percentage success rate of you becoming a professional footballer, even when you enter that under 18 environment? It's massive, and
I had a lad,
so much that goes into it.
Sorry, look, I had a lad because I had some stay with me when I was down in Bristol City, and one of the lads was a kid called David Cottrell, David George Best Cottrell. I wonder whose middle name was named after. And just to take it to an extreme point, David Cottrell had never had a scrambled egg before. And for a lot of people, think, well, surely you've had scrambled egg, but he hadn't. He came from the valleys over in Wales, never been to a restaurant. So, we used to take the lads out to a restaurant and sort of just hopefully make them feel at home. So when they're 17, 18, 19 going on, they're not going to be overawed by going out to eat. And you think some of these kids are coming from environments like that where it is a whole new world to them. And they do need a little bit more of a guiding hand away from the football club, not just at the football club when they're playing football. They're okay when they're playing football with the mates, that's fine. But there's more to life than just that.
So you're putting people up. Who did you stay? Did you stay with someone like Chamber when you were young, or were you in digs with somebody else? Or
I had 4 sets of digs in my first year when I was 16, and then I moved into a cottage on Sluice Lane, just down the road from the Martlesham Red Lion.
Okay.
And stayed there most of the time after that.
And you went and reopened it, the two of you, the other week, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It's very nice now. Yeah.
Good.
It was quite busy.
What about you, Butch? Did you have a landlady, or?
Yes, I did. Mrs. Seggers, yes. I stayed with Johnny Stirk, a little right back. So he was that size and I was that size. And he'd just take me into the ground in his Mini.
Did it have a sunroof?
Well, it did when I got in it, I'll tell you. But my knees were right up around my ears. This little Mini.
And just round the corner from the pub.
Just round the corner from the Bloomin' Fuchsia.
Bloomin' Fuchsia,
right,
yeah.
And all those, this is now closed. And virtually every pub I know in Ipswich is closed now. But I don't know, we're probably not having our trade all the time. Anyway, it's another story. But he was great, and she was brilliant. And we used to go on a Thursday night. We used to pop up to the Bloomin' Fuchsia, go in there, meet Russell sometimes, and all the other guys, and then come back. And we'd come back, and when we come back, it was about 10 o'clock, and she'd always make us a meal at 10 o'clock. But I wasn't used to this, but I eventually got used to it. It's quite nice. So I thought, well, one day I'm going to say something that she's probably never ever done before. So I said, I'd like an omelette, please. And she says, oh, yes, fine. Do you want anything in it? I says, yes, baked beans, please. Have a baked bean omelette. And she just went, okay, fine. She went away and made a baked bean omelette. I'd never had a baked bean omelette in my life before. But I thought this was great. I thought I daren't ask her about anything else more exotic because I'll get kicked out. But she was wonderful.
We'll all be trying that tonight when we go home after the show.
Baked bean omelette. I recommend it. Brown sauce, I recommend it.
Excellent. Well, look, the book is brilliant. Follow the Thunder. Jason Dozzell's new book is out. And talking of books, Neil's here as well. We spoke to Neil a few weeks ago on the show about the book he's put together all about George Burley, all to play for. And Neil's part of our capacity crowd tonight. That's a smart shirt you've got on there. Tell me a bit about that shirt.
Yeah, it's the centenary season, 1988-89. Found it recently. I thought, I'll have that.
Okay, very nice. How's the book going?
It's going great. Yeah, I've finished writing it. So just
it's always a bonus.
Yeah, that helps. Just in that spell now, just making the final changes, and it'll be going off to print in about 3 weeks. So it's going to be delivered in good time for Christmas. So answer all your prayers on that front.
And we can pre-order now, can't we? Tell us how that works.
Yeah, the pre-ordering is going really well. So get on the website now, which is www.georgeburleybook.com. The pre-orders of the limited edition versions are going really, really well. So don't miss your chance. Get on there and get it pre-ordered, please. Yeah,
and it really is a sensational book. Lots of fantastic photographs in here, and it's similar to the 81 book you did, isn't it? But it's a lot thicker, actually. It's a lot more in it.
Yeah, it is. It is similar in style and approach, but I think it's even more comprehensive, and it covers a longer period, because this one's covering 8 seasons under George's managerial reign rather than just the one. So, I learnt a lot when I did that book nearly 15 years ago now, and hopefully I've put into practice what I learned and made this one even better.
Brilliant. Okay, but that's georgeburleybook.com. Yeah,
that's right.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Time, Russ, for On This Day in History, sponsored by Fred Olsen Logistics. All 2 of them are here tonight.
Right, on this day in history. The 4th of September 1954 to start off with. Hull City's Bob Crosby scored 4 times as Town went down 4-2 with Boothbury Park in Division 2. It was to spark a record run of 10 consecutive defeats for the Blues. So that was 1954. Saturday, the 4th of September 1965, Plymouth Argyle were crushed 4-1 in Ipswich's only victory on this day. Bill McGarry's team were mid-table in Division 2 following the win. And also, I'm taking a bit of poetic license here. The 3rd of September 1977, Ipswich Town beat Chelsea 1-0 at Portman Road, and future Blues legend, myself, made his debut. blah, blah, blah. He won 385 town appearances, 21 goals. Enough of that. Thursday, the 3rd of September, 1981. Escape to victory.
Hooray!
Yeah, that premiered in London. Town players Johnny Wall, Russell Osman, Kevin O'Callaghan, Robin Turner, Lloyd Civil starred with Pele, Michael Caine, Sylvester Stallone. And Robin Turner and Civil were cast as German soldiers. Yep, I think we all know that. And also, Saturday the 5th of September 1964, the Blues crashed 2-1 at Norwich City.
Ooh.
Jackie Milburn resigned as manager after an indifferent 60-month spell. That's a long, indifferent spell, isn't it?
It is.
16 months.
Yes.
Also, on the 5th of September, you'll like this one, Terry. Chairman John Cobbold had a narrow escape when a bomb went off at the London Hilton Hotel, only 10 minutes after he'd been there drinking coffee.
There's a misprint. Coffee,
Must be a misprint. Yeah. But sadly, 2 people were killed in that bombing. And that is all that happened in this week in September.
Very good. And tell me a bit more about the one with you in. Come on, read it out properly. Come on.
Which bit did I miss out? The town centre back won 11 England caps, went on to score 21 goals in 385 town appearances and was an ever-present in the 1979-80 and 80-81 seasons.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank
You know that premiere of that film?
Yes.
Was that the first time that Johnny Walk actually heard himself being dubbed?
Yeah.
That was the very first time. He didn't know about it.
No. He told everybody he got this lovely speaking part in the film and didn't realise that they dubbed him because nobody could understand what a Glaswegian prisoner of war sounded like. And he sat there on the back row, I think, with Eric Gates and Coop and Kevin O'Callaghan. This is it. This is my line coming up here, you know. And suddenly got this English bloke saying, "I'll take the top bunk," and Walker's going, "They've dubbed me. They've dubbed me," you know. Funny.
Quite right as well.
Quite right. Yeah.
Bless him. Right, time now for the Man v Fat results this week. And a disappointing week for the Man v Fat lads following a small group gain, as once again they failed to negotiate a bank holiday weekend. We all know what that's like. Well, I do anyway. Still an amazing 36 kilograms down, though, after just 2 weeks of the season. For your information, we're currently supporting 95 players over the 2 leagues with their fitness and mental health, and would like to thank Life's a Pitch for their continued support. So, this week's results are the Red Hot Chubby Fellas 7, the Red Cat Funts 9, Wickham Waddlers 10, Galatasaray 5, Ivory Toast 12, Borussia München Flapjack 10, L'Argentina 10, Barely Athletic 3. Our amazing loser of the week was James Geeter with a 2.2 kilogram loss. So please can we congratulate James Geeter, everybody. Well done.
Mark, what's up? We are supporting one team, aren't we, in this?
Well, we used
tournament?
to like, what were they called?
It was Man Titty.
Inti Nanny.
Inti Nanny, Man
Titty we quite liked, didn't we? Yeah,
so
I don't know why, but...
What was the one? Red Cat Funds. Thank you very much. Are we all?
Are we adopting them?
Is that the one we're adopting?
That? Yeah, are we? Anybody got any other names?
Adopt a few
No.
funds.
Well, don't sound too keen at all. It's like,
I quite like the Red Hot Chubby Fellas, personally.
do you?
Sounds quite...
I like the Wickham Waddlers, to be honest.
Wickham Waddlers, yeah. Okay.
So, do you like Red Hot Chili? What are they called?
Do I like Red Hot Chubby Fellas?
Yeah.
No, it's not my type.
I didn't think you were talking about the football at the time. No.
Not my type at the moment, anyway. Oh, it's hot in here tonight, isn't it? My goodness me. So, quick bit, international break, good or bad? Russ?
Disappointed. I was just getting in the flow of the Premier League season, Mark. So, you know, we've now got to wait till, 28th, 29th of September for the next home game. Brighton away next match. What's that, the 14th? So Southampton the 21st. We'll be down at Southampton watching that, so that'll be fun. But that's life, isn't it? You've got to live with it.
Chambo?
Yeah, for us it's a bit disappointing, isn't it? But I think for the club and the team and the manager, it's a nice break and for them to have more time together as a new group on the training field, ready for the next few weeks before another international break.
Yeah, well, we've just got to get used to that, haven't we, really?
Absolutely.
Butch, what do you think?
Well, the only thing is that a lot of the players that were signed are international players.
Yeah,
so they're going away. So you can't really integrate everybody as you would like over 2 weeks to say, right, solid training, this is what we're going to do. But he would have done a lot of that already anyway.
Yeah.
So, but it's just great to sign internationals, and hopefully we wish them every success.
They're all good players.
They're all good players.
Yeah, they shouldn't need too much.
Who was left behind? Because you were all internationals pretty much, weren't you, apart from Coops?
Coop. Yeah, just left him behind.
Coops and Grimace, Steve McCall.
Right.
Yeah.
Grimace?
You can't call him Grimace.
Oh, sorry, Steve McCall. Steve. Well, he lost his front teeth, so he used to take him out for the game.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty fearsome, I tell you. He's pretty fearsome.
He didn't have them stolen, though, did he, like Roger Osborne?
No, he didn't have them stolen,
No, not that we know, anyway.
Yeah, no.
Well, look, we've got a little while before we start playing again, but it has been, it's just been tremendous to be back in the Premier League, isn't it? I mean, it's just absolutely brilliant, and I think we're all just enjoying the ride, aren't we, Chamber? Yeah,
very much. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all enjoying it, aren't we? It's like it's the hottest ticket in town, and it'll remain so for the next 9 months, especially.
Easier to get an
hopefully
Oasis
longer.
ticket than get to Portman
Oh
Road.
yeah, I'm not sure about that, but anyone win one?
Oasis tickets. Anybody?
I'm yet to meet anyone that I know that's got one.
Right.
And I know a few people that got in the ballot, and
Does anybody,
I don't know anyone that's won a ticket yet or won the right to buy
one. Does anybody want one?
I don't know.
But if you don't get one, don't look back in anger.
Oh, dear.
What a note to finish on.
I think it's probably time that we finished, don't you? I think it's time that we finished. That's it for this week. To keep in touch, check out our socials. That's Instagram, X and Facebook. And you can also go onto the website as well, lifesapitch.tv. You can find details of Neil's book on there. If you want to be a part of our capacity crowd, there's free beer, isn't there, and snacks? So if you want to come and be part of the capacity crowd, just click on capacity crowd and you can apply on there, and we'll hopefully see you on the show very, very soon. Thank you, Chambo. Thank you, Butch. Thank you, Russell. Thank you, the capacity crowd. It's been a great show. And we'll see you again next week. Blue Army, everybody! Army! This has been a Life's a Pitch TV production. Main sponsor, DPS Tech. Also supported by Lakens, All About Hearing, Forward Floors, Ginger Pickle, Fred Olsen Logistics, The Dove, Seckford Golf Club, Ashford Wright, John Keeble Cars, Venue 16, The Hudson Group, Come Hither Design, Sound 4 Pro Audio, and Suffolk Sound. Our charities this year: Cancer Support Suffolk and the Ipswich Town Community Foundation.